one for the community art exhibit. You can see his art around the room. It'll be up until October. Yeah, so I'll pass you off. You guys enjoy.
Thank you, Caitlin. Yeah, we'll use this because why not? So, well, first off, right, I appreciate everybody being here. The show is really cool. Hey, come on in. Wow, you actually brought cookies, bro. Wow, what a guy. What a guy this Adam. Yeah, so we're not having cookies. We go with the water. And Johnny enters. I have a meal. Please help yourselves. Shout out to you, bro. Yeah, so like she says, right? I'm currently exhibiting here. I've been painting, I like to say seriously for the last 10 years. I've been creating my entire life. So yeah, this is just an opportunity for people to, pick my brain and have a conversation a little more elevated than the normal conversations that goes on in people's day-to-day lives. Who's calling me? Call me later. So yeah, so we'll probably talk about 45 minutes to 50 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes, I will open the floor for people to ask me questions. So. Also at the end, if everyone can sign in on that blank piece, but also for the library, so copy for me, copy for them, but we'll cross that bridge when we get here. Okay.
Well, welcome everybody to the Crawford Library, and also to Malik Titus Bridges exhibition, Faces and Figures. My name is Joanna Medding. I work with the Delaware Valley Arts Alliance. I also have the pleasure of being a good friend of Malik's. Over the next hour, we hope to explore his journey, creative process, and the stories behind his work. And like Malik said, there will be some time for questions at the end. Above anything, I just hope that this conversation kind of inspires some curiosity in your day-to-day life. Okay. So, before we dive in, can you tell us what it feels like to see all of these works gathered here in this space?
Beautiful. I probably painted about 90 of these smaller portraits. So, and random friends have seen the majority of the series though, but it's nice to be able to show people, what you have on the inside and to present what things that I've been interested in doing. So it feels good to answer that question in a long way.
So you said you've been creating art seriously for 10 years, but that it has been an overarching presence in your life. Do you remember the first time that you felt like, okay, I'm an artist? And if so, like, what sparked that?
Yeah, I'd say in college, I went to SUNY Delhi to study architecture. That was my compromise from my parents and guidance counselors. Because, they were like, don't be just an artist. You won't live. And, so here I am now.
Alive.
Yeah, alive, quite well. But there was a moment where I knew I wasn't going to return back to school. And I needed to make a plan and do something, like, immediately. And I kind of sat in my room in my dorm and was just like, what can I do easily without having to think about? So I went back to painting. And towards the end of my semester, there was a few friends that had commissioned me a few pieces. So from college, I was able to sell, very cheap, just whatever. It's like, I don't know, this is just what I do, to a few people, and that kind of gave me the spark to then, once I left, to jump off from that point. I was like, okay, I can do this. There was also an artist named Paper Frank. He's a Atlanta-based artist, where he was the first artist that I was able to see having an art show. Growing up here, I didn't really know any active artists that lived it. You know what I'm saying? Nor did I ever go to an official art show other than high school or whatever. Which is cool. It's cool. Just get your first art show in high school. But once I seen how simple it was just to paint and invite a bunch of people into a building and have art shows. Oh, I can do that. So from that moment.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you say how simple it is to just paint because that does not resonate with me whatsoever. So that's how we know. Obviously, you have a pull towards kind of more of an abstract style. I often say, like, I love the way that you view the world, your perspective. Is this a fair window into your view of the world? Kind of this more abstract sense form?
Yeah, I say more now than ever. Because when I first started, it was very character driven, very like hard line. Like this is this person, this is that. A lot of my early commissions was like, oh, can you just paint this photo of me on vacation on this boat or whatever. And so, I would get every little detail and minute wave and stuff. But I think as soon as I realized that, one, a lot of people don't know what they want or what's cool, and two, to let go of like the disappointment that I maybe thought people would have if it wasn't up to the standard of what people thought. I was able to like tap in more of a abstract feel in a subconscious way. But I wasn't like necessarily going that way. I think I was just leaving from so tightly being able to paint.
So in a way, do you feel like painting in an abstract style is more liberating, perhaps?
Oh, 100%. 110%. Yeah. Leave it at that. Yes.
So the name of this exhibition is Faces and Figures. This title kind of suggests that there's a form of identity in these paintings and maybe a human presence as well. What drew you to explore this theme?
Well, so through the years, I've painted faces and figures. But I think more recently, I was able to, wanted to put them all together. For several reasons. I think one, because I knew I was going more abstract, I wanted there to be a foundation of like, this is based on something that maybe you have seen, just maybe not in this way. You know what I'm saying? Because particularly, my characters on the charcoal side, right? They're all like famously known things, right? We've all seen a bull. We've seen Spider-Man in some capacity, Maybe the one in the middle, that's like Tyler Creator, but it's like an album. It's a popular album cover that he just dropped last year, titled Cornucopia. So it was based on things that most people have possibly seen, but just maybe not through my eyes, if you will. So, I hope that answers the question.
Absolutely. Do you decide on a specific, how do you decide when a face or figure is recognizable versus when it's just, lost in the abstraction? Like, how do you know kind of how to draw that line?
Good question. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it is what it is, and I just leave it at that. Because even the ones that I intentionally try to make into things, people see totally different stuff in it. Like I'll say I painted Kai Cenat. He's not up here yet though, but everybody says it's Jesus. So I'm like, I guess it's Jesus, it's, because there's a point where I'm like, who am I to tell the viewer who it is? That's why I kind of like strayed away from even like naming a lot of the things, because I kind of want people just to see what they see in it. It's usually more interesting than what I was thinking about.
Yeah, I guess that kind of goes with how you said that painting in an abstract manner is kind of liberating. It kind of seems to me like you're saying no clear boundaries. Let's just experience what we experience, and I think that's really nice. In this show, do you have a favorite piece or one that has like a particularly interesting story to you?
Favorite piece. Man, that's tough. I don't know. I really fell in love with the, hey, welcome. No, you're good. You loud, you chilling. I don't know, I really fell in love with like the charcoal stuff. Obviously I love the painting though, but I don't know, there was something freeing about it. I guess because a lot of people maybe not know me for much charcoal work, so it allowed me just to make without any like formal like standard, if you will, you know, because I'd say sometimes it gets a little pressuring when you're known to do something and you know you have to produce at a certain level. But I also think that's why I went abstract because I'm not really known for that, so there was no like bar that I had to hit other than my own. But favorite, I'd say my biggest self-portrait, which some of you may have seen on my Instagram that I just showed everybody, but I was working on it for a long time actually. But I say that piece just because of the size of it. It's just big and bold. Yeah.
So, you know, you like working with charcoal because it's, again, liberating. How did you, and did you start with acrylic? You know, you said like painting friends on vacation, that kind of thing. What were you using at that time? And how did you move from that to, you know, acrylic to charcoal to any other forms? I know you were doing some spray painting this week, so how do you move through these mediums of painting? And yeah, how did you, where did it start? How is it now? And kind of that process of exploration.
That's a great question. So acrylic painting is my foundation. I started acrylic painting in high school, like 10th grade. Shout out to Jay Brooks. He's one of the few art teachers that like, he saw what I was doing, was like, yeah, I'm gonna just put you in this corner, like, excuse my language, fuck the lesson, you sit and paint, okay? So he was one of the first teachers that was just like, locked in on me there. So yeah, I'd say acrylic is definitely a foundation. So because of the nature of the way I paint, which I paint with like a bigger brush relative to the canvas. So for me to get thinner lines and finer details, I have to lean on other mediums like pastels or charcoals. Yeah, I think I'll say it's just because it'll come out in a sharper way. So I learned to layer, right? So if I put like a foundation of wild acrylic on there, then I can like tighten it up with either like a marker or pastel or charcoal or anything else on top of that though. So does that answer?
You mentioned Jay Brooks, who I don't personally know, but I do follow on Instagram. And the week before we met at an art opening, I had actually seen a painting that Jay had done of you. So when I saw you, it was like, you looked so weirdly familiar, but it was actually because I had seen a painting of you.
That's crazy.
I know. But you're saying, you know, Jay allowed you to kind of explore that. Are there any other people who have been significant in allowing this exploration, whether directly or just via inspiration? Maybe someone you don't know personally, but what other people have allowed you to be here now?
That's another beautiful one. Shout out to my parents for doing whatever they did to make me alive. That's very important. Yeah. All the parents out there, shout out to y'all. So, number one, right? Mind you, right? You know, my parents are very creative. It's more music and physical movements. You know, my dad's like studied like martial arts. My mom's like loves music. So, you know, the house was always filled with creative energy. I'll also shout out my Uncle Reggie. He's probably the first painter that I've known that I was able to recognize his work, right? Because he would paint inside of his parents' house, which is my great-grandfather's and great-grandmother's house. And, I would see all these really cool still lifes and things in the house. And once I found out it was him, I was like, whoa, I didn't know you can paint and hang up your stuff in your own house. Right? As simple as that is, you're like, I didn't know. I thought you had to go buy stuff and then hang it up on the wall. This is, I'm like 6, 7, whatever. Who else is out there? Paper Frank, like I said, he was someone that I got to see at a higher level. Because, even though I see my uncle, his work up, I never seen him like have a show. You know what I'm saying? Which would have been the next level, or like sell any of his work. So shout out to Paper Frank. Shout out to one of my friends here. Man, middle school and high school, man. It's like my boy James. I've always like admired his art ability, but not just his art ability. His ability to actually create and show, right? Because it took me a long time to even show people my art, and it wasn't from a place where I was like shy. It was more of I like to paint, and well, I didn't paint back then though, but I like to draw for me, if that makes sense. Like I genuinely enjoyed the things that I drew, and didn't necessarily need to show anybody for that outside recognition. But yeah, I'd say that. My boy Matt, Z, Mike, shout out to, it's, the list goes on. More recently, shout out to my boy Rick, you know what I'm saying? We kind of just got linked up in the last year or two though, but, seeing like the parallels of life, like, why have we never crossed paths before? But, you guys know the feeling when you meet someone and it's just like, you just click with people, you know what I'm saying? Man. Yeah, I'd say that. I mean, there's probably like 1 million people, but because I'm on the spot, I can't think.
So you're mentioning.
Oh, Monet, shout out to Monet. Sorry.
Good.
That's my guy.
But you're kind of, saying that early on you were drawing as a form of expression, not even so much so as to really impress anyone, right? Just expression. You also touch on having creativity and different forms of art in your household, and you mentioned music. Now I know that you also create music, and amongst other things, just an all-around well-rounded artist. So how do your roles as a musician, painter, designer, how do they intersect and influence each other?
Fire. Very well. First of all, I hate saying that word can't, but I'm unwilling to create without music or some kind of visual or soundscape going on at all, right? So right then and there, it's like, and this is from being a child, right? Just a lot of music in the house, whether everyone was cleaning or we were just chilling, having a good time. So yeah, having what's the word? Soundscape, if you will, behind me while I create definitely influences me. But once I was ready to make music, because I have family, like my older brother, my uncle, they're like all in with music. In years I've seen them create without being influenced to even create my own things. I still had an appreciation for music. But once I actually started to create it, I realized that there wasn't necessarily music for artists just to play in the background, which they do have it, but that was like my focus. I was like, I wanted to make more of the music that I would love to hear while I'm creating also. So it's just kind of like this weird, like, never-ending vortex of stuff going on. But also, I'll say I produced a album called Palette at the end of 2023, and it kind of influenced a whole clothing line, as well as other visuals to go along with it, because it was, again, based on the principle of, like, if the music is the palette, right, this is where I'm getting all of my inspiration and colors, if you will, to paint, whatever that is. Even if I'm going outside, that's me dipping in to this music palette to paint me, to then go and present myself. this turned into a whole line of clothes where I superimposed a palette into which I brought the examples, a never-ending a pattern. I forgot the name of that. An anagram, I think it's called, where it's like a never-ending palette. It's the thing that like Fendi and Gucci, all these brands do, where it's like that pattern that never stops and ends. So I did that with a actual palette. I literally just like outlined it to make it into this. Not to mention it was a fashion show that I had to produce for, so it kind of just made sense to intersect both of those things though. But yeah, going on all at once, you know, like I think about music while I paint while I think about music and clothes. It's kind of all just mixed up in the pot.
So it kind of seems like one thing leads to another, and then that thing leads to the next thing, and
Yeah.
it's kind of symbiotic circle, which makes sense. My next question was going to be if your ideas ever start in one medium and migrate to another, but I think you answered that excellently, which yes, they do.
Yes.
You mentioned creating music to feel and to hear what supports you in visually creating. And also that you were always listening to some sort of soundscape during this process. What kind of genres of music do you find inspiring, or do you find like can get you in that zone where you can just create?
Man, that's great. Genres. And even me making music, I hate using the word genres. It's because I feel like good music is good music, no matter where the source is, where it came from. But yeah, that's tough, you know? Like, I can go from hip hop to classic rock to Flying Lotus to jazz to the 1 to 2 country songs I actually like. All in one playlist. So I guess it really depends on the day, you know? I'm very like day to day where it's like, this is me today. So whatever that was that day is kind of how I echo the rest of my, I don't know, existence? That's a good word.
Since genre was not a favorable word, and I know that you're a person that is in tune with the world and universe. How about we use the word energy? What kind of energy are you pulling from to create? And energy can mean a lot of different things. It could be emotions, it could be higher power, it could just be something like music. So what energy do you kind of need to be in that space?
That I like. Energy, yeah, that's more my language. I'd say more on the positive end, for sure. More happier, nostalgic, things that make me feel good. That's where I draw primarily when I'm creating. Things I want to interact with, you know, right? Down to the clothes, right? This is something that I would wear versus designing for other people. But yeah, I say, yeah, from me, from things that I love to see, do, and think, right? Because it's like, I need to take up space, you know? I'm one of the billions of people on this earth, so this is how I speak, other than when I have a mic. It's through my, my visual things. But yeah, I would say positive things. It's funny you ask that though, because I actually find it hard to create when I'm not in a good mood, which I know a lot of brilliant artists that make a lot of great stuff when they're not in a good mood. But to even add to that, I'll say this is why I dabble in so many different art forms, because my paintings, it's hard for me to create in a bad mood, but musically, that's where it's easy for me to put down when I'm not feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Not to say all my music is sad and stuff, but it's like, it's easier to speak it when it's not good versus when I want to just paint. So, yeah.
I think that's no surprise to anyone that knows you that you're drawing from happiness or positivity. You are someone who is always smiling, and so yeah, that is no surprise. When you start painting or maybe just even creating, do you know where it wants to go? Do you use that intuition? I mean, I know that we don't want restrictions or boundaries, so I think I know softly what the answer is there, but do you use emotion to guide your work, and what does that look like? And also, when using emotion to guide your work, is there tension in planning versus letting it evolve organically?
So when I first started to do paintings, like in 2015, commissions review, it was a lot more of that, like, tension, because it was like, okay, this is for somebody who's gonna, they're living with this. I need it to be at a certain level, even though, again, people don't know what they want. So even if I did something different, they, 9 times out of 10, they'd be like, oh, this is amazing. I'm like, well, that was coffee, but thank you. Yeah, I spilled that by accident, but cool. But yeah, I'd say more now, I learned to let that go, let any of the stress just not get into the canvas at all. It's funny, we were just having a conversation with Rick about this. Matter of fact, anybody, well, no one was there at my self-portrait workshop. It's cool. But I had said this before where I was like, once you feel that tension, that's when you need to drop the brush. Take a lap, go get a snack, do some push-ups, take a walk, go watch something funny. Which I'm sure tension and visual art, there's some beautiful things, right? You got like Jackson Pollock, I'm sure he was like pissed 90% of his career, but you see how successful he is though. But me personally, yeah, every time I feel that, I need to step back. That means I'm doing too much. You know what I'm saying? Any of my art, I can't force it. You know what I'm saying? Everything else in life is, I'm not gonna say forced, but needs a little bit more serious energy. Anytime I paint, I take it upon myself to be like, I don't want any of that energy around me. So, yeah.
So, today, if one of your friends went on vacation and asked to recreate a feeling they had or a certain image, essentially, are you still open to commission work, or do you create simply what is in your brain at that moment?
I'm still open to commission work. I just hope anyone that were to commission me would just do their homework and know what I produce. Obviously, I'm great at taking direction and changing that into my own thing, right? But obviously, it's gonna come through me. So, as long as people are open to be like, okay, nobody knows where this is gonna end, okay? As long as you're comfortable there, then we can work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I pulled away from the, getting every little minute detail on someone's forehead, sweat drop, to just be like, I want to capture the feeling of you on vacation, right? More than the actual you physically. So yeah, that's where I moved to. But I'm open.
Are there any recent experiments or experiences that have surprised you or changed how you think or look at art, whether generally or your own? So again, just any experiences that have altered the way you do things recently?
What's recent? The last couple years, months, days?
Whatever comes to mind.
I guess I'll say just work on what you got, not waiting, which, I've never was one to really wait around to produce, but I think that helped me even more, like knowing the moment that you're in now doing whatever you can from what you got from right there. And then seeing what comes of it after kind of deal, right? It's just like having a show. It's like, of course, you're never 100% right, but there's a date and you gotta show up, and whoever's around is around. Whatever the effect was the effect. So, yeah, I say just less waiting, probably more recently.
So on that, what kind of conversations do you hope that your artwork sparks? And also kind of how do you imagine this wider community interacting with your work?
My hopes is for people to, well, I feel like everybody should paint or draw. Like, we all go to kindergarten, first grade, right, and we have to paint and draw, right? So anytime people say, oh, I've never painted or drawn before, I'm like, well, you're lying. You know, maybe you're just not comfortable, or maybe it's been years. Fine, you know, and I get that. But I think that's something that everybody has done and can do. Because, you know, everyone's style is really them. So I don't think there should be much of a monopoly on that. But that's also why I kind of paint and draw to the level that I do, right? It's funny, you know, because I've been told I was a genius visually, but I also was told that a 5th grader can do this, and this is ass. And I accept both with the same amount of like, thank you for looking at my pieces, you know what I'm saying? Because first and foremost, I need people to either love it or hate it. But if somebody looks at your work and they're like, oh, that's cool, that's not a good reaction. You want people to be like, oh my God, and falling to their knees, or it's like, I hate this, you should burn it. Which I've gotten both. And they both feel good. I'm like, wow, you were moved by me like touching a piece of paper? That's amazing. But I'd say, yeah, I just want more people to, you know, if it's not visually, just to express whatever medium that they're comfortable in more. Because I feel like we need more of that. It's a lot of robots, you know, just going through the day, and without their voice, right? It's like everybody has a voice, you know, and I think everybody should be able to represent that and be free, right? So again, I went more abstract because I wanted to show people that it's less about what it is, it's more about like how does it make you feel, you know, like it's just happy or sad or stupid, whatever, you know, so yeah, that's what I hope. And you said the greater community?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. You know, I travel as much as I can, you know, down in the city, up here, wherever, Atlanta. And yeah, again, I just want people to be comfortable in their language, like whatever that is, you know. My stuff may not make sense to them, but even that, like, be more comfortable to be like, I don't understand this, you know, cool. You know what I mean? You know, and I feel like everything I do is not for everybody. But one thing I did learn was you just kind of got to like find your tribe, find your people that appreciate the things that you do, and just really just connect with them. So I hope people to find their tribes.
So a message to explore expression in a way, right?
Without sorry.
Oh yes,
Yes.
unapologetically express yourself.
Do it. Hard.
A question I've been looking forward to asking you the most is, do you see your paintings as portraits of people, emotions, or something else? And again, this is, you know, in the abstract world, and we can all answer that question to what we see, but what do you see when you look at these canvases?
Yeah, I see different versions of me on different days, right? It's probably like a month's worth of emotions, from happy to sad to but, you know. But yeah, I think, you know, hey, I think every painting or any kind of drawing is a mirror for whoever is standing in front of it. You know, that's why people see whatever they see. But yeah, my intention for this particular show was particularly painting myself, appreciating myself. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, we all want supporters, we all want people to care, but it's like, you know, you have to like, you know, care at the core. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do I appreciate about myself? You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, people like my stuff, but I don't know. I also took this as a chance to just, I don't know, I guess do some inner reflections and, you know, give it like a yearbook kind of feel, right? This is where I was, 2025. And yeah, I see spirits, you know, like the spirit of myself as well as other people. And that's what I like to paint or draw. You know? So, you know, if I were to paint you, for instance, right? Obviously I would capture some of the physicalness of you as well, but of course, you know, the color choices, the brush strokes, they all represent just like the energy that I feel off of people as well, you know, not just, you know, the physical being they are. So yeah, I think I draw a lot of spirits and energy, really, more than the physical being.
Beautiful. So almost like a moment of self-reflection, seeing time pass, as well as just how almost impermanent things are, right? Because if you made these paintings over a month, there are definitely, you know, through the colors and composition, there are a lot of different spirits that come out at the time. At least I think so.
Yeah. Also add really quick.
Yes, please.
Oh yeah, so we get this. See, so right, even you know, everyone can see, right? These three in the middle with the pastel, ironically, where I'm wearing a hat, right? So obviously this was a different moment during this. These were more towards the end of the series. So even seeing me physically like change and wear different things, and that played like a huge part of me. You know, just documenting. You know, I have this video going. You know, I just learned to document my journey a little bit more, and so.
Well, what is your journey? And along with that, what is the most exciting part of your journey right now in this moment? What are you most excited about of where you are with where this journey has led you here today at the Crawford Library with this group of wonderful people?
I'd say what's exciting now is this, you know, being able to get into a room with fellow creators. I'm sure there's a lot of creators in here. I know some of y'all. But again, right, it's the spirit and energy. So we kind of like find each other in, you know, different ways. Yeah, just to be able to put things on like this, mind you, like I said, I didn't know any physical artists living where I can like go and touch for a long time. So just being that example is something that's very exciting for me. Just showing people that you can go have an art show, you know, it's cool. Yeah, maybe you've never done it, sure, but you know, it's possible. So right now that's exciting. What was the other part of the question?
What was your journey?
Oh yeah, my journey. Yeah. Man. So again, this is 10 years of me leaving college with no plan, and here I am today. So that's a testament on its own, where it's like 2015 Malik really had no idea what he was doing, what he was getting himself into. Well, 2025 Malik still doesn't know what he's doing, so that's any comfort for anyone else. But yeah, just man, never giving up, no matter how bad, you know, because there was obviously times where it was like I was like, this, you know, this isn't working the way I thought it was going to work, right? Obviously, it was working in other ways that I didn't know about, but that's a part of the journey. But yeah, I'll say right now that, and the opportunity to work with a bunch of the local art organizations, right? DVAA and Bethel and the Crawford Library, the Black Library, all of these organizations, and like being like a staple where people like being like a no-brainer, but like, oh, okay, Malik's into art, let's ask him something, even though we don't know if he can do it, but I think that alone is like worth the 10 years for me. But I'd say I needed to take a measurement in the last 10 years of like what I've done, like, is it worth it for other people, right? I know the value of it to me, but I was curious about, did it do anything for people? Like, did this affect anyone's decisions? Did anyone, I don't know, did whatever. So, this show, this year in general was definitely I'd say a measurement stick on like, like, why? Like, why am I doing this? You know what I'm saying? So I had to like slow down just long enough to see if it was worth continuing to do things for other people, right? I mean, obviously, the things inside of me, I'm going to continue to do, even if I don't show anybody else any paintings that I do. But yeah, I think I was curious to see how it affected other people, see me move through the world. Again, not having that person to be like, in more recent years I had Jay where, he became more and more, once he retired and he stepped in more into his freelance artist shoes, if you will. But yeah, other than that, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if anyone needs this, I don't know. Maybe I'm wasting my time, but here we are.
Well, with that being said, you are obviously a recognized artist in the community. Malik teaches at Bethel Woods and is always involved with everything art related and everywhere. So with that, how do you see your work evolving in the future? Where do you see your path, this journey continuing? What is ahead for you? Tough question.
I cannot wait to splatter a piece of paint on a canvas and be like, $10,000. That's where I want to go. I just want to be able to like throw something. I want to be able to walk on the canvas and be like, yeah, I worked hard on that. 5,000, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not kidding, but to add to that, I think I want to be able to continue to, live wholeheartedly on just like things that I make. It's almost like magic where you can just literally just create something that didn't exist, and then you can like earn the money from something that you wasn't thinking about earning money on. It's like, oh, okay, cool. You like this? Sure, it's yours. Yeah, more traveling. I want to, because I believe, we live in a very unique area up here. I love this area, so I moved back 2 years ago. So part of that is also traveling and showing the awesomeness that this area can present elsewhere. So I guess two fronts, right? Maintaining a presence here where future artists and creatives can go beyond even me, wherever I may end and land, just because they've already seen it done, but also presenting it outside of this area to other areas that may or may not need it, because it is nice to go to other art areas that already have like an art culture going, where you just gotta jump in. You don't have to like start something. And I think that was a lot of the energy I put into this area, where it was like, it was the first. You know what I'm saying? And that takes a lot of energy to like generate for the first time something that's never been done in an area. Not in history, right? Nothing's new. But this particular area, there was a lot of like the first and new that I think is catching up to a lot of other places now. And it wasn't due to the lack of talent. I think it was the community. I think there was, because I know so many talented artists and people that didn't know each other, that possibly could help each other, Again, that's why I love having my art shows where it's like, oh, this person can make this person. It's like, oh, this person is the answer to a question that you had 2 weeks ago. So yeah, allowing the community to build, but also expanding, traveling, I want to go see the world and show the world what I got. So a little bit of both. I think that's the future. Continue to paint. I actually got into some sculpture recently this year. So actually to go back to your other question where one medium leading into another, yeah. Particularly the second one from the right on this side, I turned that into a sculpture because it started looking three-dimensional to me, you know, and it turned into like a whole series of other, which I haven't showed many people, like these little like figures that I've made. But yeah, more of that, more bigger stuff, I'd say, actually. Bigger, I want to go bigger, more murals, big sculptures, more interactive pieces, because I love when people interact with art. It's always fun. So yeah, bigger, better.
So, you know, when we talk about money, of course, that is a very real thing. But also what I hear from that is kind of like a certain validation that your voice matters, right? Like if a work of art where you just stepped on it is worth that much is because people want to, in a way, like let's say hear what you have to say, you know, even if you're not saying it directly, if you're painting or sculpting or whichever. But that kind of leads into that encouragement that you express that you want others to feel in viewing your art, where what I'm hearing is kind of that your voice matters and you think your voice matters and you're encouraging others to understand that their voice also matters. Is that kind of correct conclusion?
100%. Yes, yes. Yeah, and you know, again, I'll speak to random people all the time, and maybe this particular woman was saying, I forgot how the conversation got started though. She was like, yeah, like, take up more space, you know? It's like, take up more space. You know, I'm already 6'1", you know, relatively tall. When you go out into the world though, 6'1" is not tall at all. Like, in college, like, all my friends were taller than me. So I was like, damn, this is different. But yeah, taking up space and being proud of that space that you have taken up, you know. Of course, we can always improve. So, you know, when you look back at things, you're like, oh, you know, that was cool, whatever. But yeah, being proud at that moment, like, you know, as a step is very, very important. Yeah.
Thank you all for having been so patient during our conversation here. I would love to open up the floor and see if we have any questions, really about anything. You know, I know some folks have asked about color choices and that kind of thing. If anyone else is curious about that, or whatever else choices you may have, and please project.
Be personal stuff too, it doesn't matter. Yes.
What do you make your figures out of? And do you feel a different kind of strength as you mold the piece than when you work with charcoal or acrylics or oil? How do you do it?
Yes, I realized that I enjoy the sculpt. It took me very long to realize that. Because one thing I did realize was I kind of paint in a sculpted way, where I'm kind of like chipping at this image in reverse, where I'll add a bit, I'll look at it, add a bit, look at it, add a bit. So I realized that I actually was a sculptor just backwards. So physically grabbing the clay, which I was currently using, was definitely empowering and different than my normal.
Do you fire it in a kiln yourself, or do you take it somewhere? Or do you let it dry naturally?
So I actually have one piece that was an air dry clay, and a friend of mine, she took it to a kiln, and like a professional came and finished it for me. So it's like, wow, I would never be able to get here. But the pieces that came from this, they were air dry clay, so there wasn't a kiln needed for those particular sculptures because of the time restraints as well as the access to a kiln. Right, using what I had, I just went for the air dry.
I'm curious about this one here.
Yes, talk to me.
Is this bullfight pool?
Yes.
And I'm curious to know, what do you think about bullfights and why, what motivated you to create this piece?
Great question. So as some people may know, right, which I think you know, this piece is very Picasso-esque. Yeah. But I think, so I kind of flipped the concept on its head for that, where I think Picasso was trying to more like overpower the bull, like, you know, he was the bullfighter. But in my representation, like, I am the bull. So, you know, even being like wounded, because his title is a black bull, right? So, you know, even being like the prize fighting bull, they're the ones that usually have the most wounds and the most swords put into them. And also at the same time, I started to draw, because so as you can see, the rest of them have a little bit more texture to it, right? So I kind of wanted to put I kind of wanted to be able to draw it with one line going around the entire thing as well. That's kind of like a staple of like, whatever the line may land, that's what I'm gonna like stand on that. In a way of like, in a way of, I guess putting a flag in the ground, where it's like, however this may turn out, you know, this is what I'm gonna show, and this is what it is. But again, you know, it's definitely not a piece that encourages that activity of, you know, bullfighting, which I understand the premise. But again, it's a reversal, where it's like society is the arena and the bullfighter, and, you know, this is me still having to stand up and, you know, stand in the middle of that arena with swords in my back. You know, so.
Very
Thank you.
nice.
It's a good question. Anybody else has something? Yeah, 5 minutes. Yeah.
If you became synonymous with one form of art, what would it be?
Form?
Yeah, one art form.
What do you mean, form? Like, our style? Form?
I mean, there's music, there's
Oh,
painting,
man.
dancing. What would you?
Where I can only, like, do that and I can't do anything else?
No, what would you? That would be yours.
Oh, I mean, I'd say painting. It's an easy question. It's an easy answer, I guess. Yeah, I'd say painting. If I can say, but to add to that, I feel like that's something that other people see, right? Because even when I started doing music, people kind of like, but you're the painter. Like, why are you making music? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Yeah. But I also think, again, I just think people know me to paint more than anything else. So, yeah. Does that answer your question? Okay. Okay, cool. Anyone else? Good.
Did you look in the mirror?
Please.
Were you looking in the mirror when you did the self-portraits?
No, I was looking at photos though. So I actually took the photos right before I actually went and painted them. I probably deleted some of them, but I probably have most of the. They don't turn this off. And they like, all right, bro.
It's dead.
All right.
Oh, it's probably dead. It's cool.
Let's project.
All right, I can read you.
Yeah.
Take up space.
I didn't need this, but because they had it, I was going to use it.
Fun.
But I can talk loud. Exactly. It's just fun to have a mic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd say photo references for the majority of them, which they may or may not be recognizable from the from the original material though. But yeah, photo references.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Question.
Yes.
So do you have artwork for sale?
Yes.
Because I got her J. Brooks, and I think now she needs one of your
Hey.
pieces.
Talk to me. Yeah. I mean, all of these are available other than 14. That one's
She
off the
likes
market.
11.
11.
Lucky
I
number.
I love 11 too.
Oh, yeah, lucky
You
number.
know, I just, there's so much that you can make your own on that, and the colors are beautiful too, but that's number 3 and number 11 really stuck out with me.
Number 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cornucopia. Those are great pieces.
They are.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you have everything
Really
together.
nicely next to J. Brooks's picture.
Oh.
I love that. Yes. We can chat after. We have 5 minutes. I love that. Anyone else?
Any other questions?
No?
All
Well,
right.
I'll give, you wanted to?
Yeah, I just want to thank everyone for being here as our audience, as the library for allowing this space, as Malik for showing, as well as sharing his time with us here. And the takeaway, I think, is take up space. So hopefully we can integrate that through our day today and maybe even tomorrow and the next day. So just feel confident in that. And Malik, if you have anything else to say, please.
So quick, I guess. Well, first of all, thank you.
Oh, my
Joanne.
pleasure.
Because I know I randomly just asked you. Because I had a list, mind you. I had a list of people, and I was like, who do I want to just have a conversation with? You were definitely on the list. And it's ironic, actually, it was on there. But you were actually the first one that I formally reached out to, and it just worked. I was like, that. No need for a list anymore. So you gotta love when things just happen like that. But yeah, so next. All right, October 4th, I'll be at Bethel. They have a harvest festival at 10:30 to whatever the hell. I'll be leading a paint sip there. October 11th, I'll be at Two Farms Brewery for another harvest festival. A vending as well. So I'll have prints of most of these originals and things like that. What else is going on?
Where can I find these dates after I walk out of here and forget them?
Well, Instagram is probably the easiest way.
Instagram.
Yeah.
What's your Instagram?
It's Sifu9000 at the letter S, the letter I, the letter F. That's too fast. I tend to talk
I
really
don't
quick.
even do Instagram, so
What was
that's.
it? I'm looking you up.
SIFU 9000.
Thank you.
Yes.
No,
Thank you
thank
for that. But I do talk quick. My whole life, I think because I feel like my brain moves quicker than my mouth can.
Yeah, I can see that.
Still volunteer that you get support, is your family still here that you get support from them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and different
With
capacities.
nurses,
Yeah, but a lot of my family, I still have a few family around here though, but yeah, a lot of people moved away or, yeah, so.
Well,
But yeah, thank you.
please enjoy snacks, folks. Bother Malik as much as you'd like.
Yes, please. Yes, and don't forget to sign in. So there's 2 sign-ins. There's a blank piece of paper that's for me. So feel free to either put your name or your social or if your number, because I'm actually going to start a more direct thing with people. And the other library one is for the library, so whatever they need, I don't know. But sign mine, not theirs.
I'm very proud.
Thank you.
Nice, I'm so
Thank
glad
you.
the details.
Thank you so much.
I sketch and draw all the time.
Yeah? I would love to see that.
I do a lot of orthogram, someplace different. If I'm on a bus, I sketch.
Yes, I love that. Because I love going to the city and also like drawing people or like buildings and
They look the way I perceive them.
oh my god, look at that.
But when I'm on a bus or something, or I bartend or taxi driver,
Yeah,
I want you to know that people love it when you can.
I agree. And I do that from time to time. Like I'll draw something.
There's this one here and they drew a maintenance thing, and I'm looking at it, and then
Oh, your picture? Yeah, come on in here. Let's do this shit.
at the end, I was going to give it to him, and he was very moved.
Why don't we do it for the new one?
Oh, that's all right. No, people appreciate it.
100%. Yes, I agree. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I would love to see that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
We have a lot of mutual friends in
Do
common.
we?
Eric is my friend. Brewery, Two Farms.
Exactly. See, I love a full circle moment. So will you be there?
When is it?
It's on the 11th.
I think it's because of the
So they'll have, there's like hayride.
Down the driveway?
Yeah, I think, yeah. So
That's why I have to hesitate, because that driveway is.
I got you though, because I requested to get picked up, because I'm gonna park in the front and have somebody come get me.
It's not good on my car.
Yeah, it's not good.
And my husband's like, I'm never parking back here.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I hesitated. My high school reunion was just here.
Oh, cool. How was it?
Great.
Awesome.
2000.
Mama Solo.
Yes.
Let's go. Yeah, didn't even know. Right. I was a small kid playing in the woods. Man, because there wasn't much to do out there, right?
Was he in
Possibly.
Texas?
Yeah. Man, there was so much going on there. But yeah. It's trippy because like I'll drive by it now and it's just like the casino and I'm just like,
I know.
these used to be places and people used to live and play and exist here.
Just a quick
Oh
goodbye.
my God,
I'm
thank
off
you
to
so
produce the film
much.
festival.
Oh, you are?
Narrowsburg's got Big Eddie going on.
Yes.
So.
So thank you so much. It's great meeting you. I heard so much about
What
you.
is your name?
Lily.
Lily.
I have an reference to this place.
Oh, Lily.
I heard that you helped her.
It was such a pleasure to meet you.
That was great.
And what was your name?
Oh,
Oh, Joanna. I'm
thank you
Joanne.
so
Okay.
much. My name
Yeah,
was
so easy to remember.
You must know Busy Koi as well, right?
Yes, of course. I saw her yesterday. She came to the opening night film. So yeah, we have lots of movies going on this weekend. So I gotta get to it.
Went out to the Black Crows about the woods.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, I would have gone if I didn't have this whole film festival. That's really nice to meet you. Really enjoy.
No problem. I'll definitely come in.
Thank you.
And always love your work.
I'll text you later.
I used to do, oil.
Oil, yes.
I got too impatient, so I got tired and stopped.
That's
It takes so long to dry.
forever.
Yes, yeah, and, then I went to acrylic.
Yes.
It was drying too fast. So I stopped.
Oh man.
Yeah, but it was a long time ago.
Okay. Maybe you can find paint that's a little bit
Oh, now I'm a little more patient, so now I'm
Okay.
gonna go back to oil.
There you go.
Yes, because I can always.
Good, blow dry. That too.
That I didn't want to do because sometimes like a day or two later I want to change something with oil is still wet.
Yeah, so you can
It's
still
continue.
move it
I can
around.
move it around for like a week or two.
100%.
Yes, yeah.
Your
So it's
name?
great. Arturo, call me T.
T.
Luis.
Thank you for coming. Awesome.
Did you ever work with Kim Simons?
Kim Simons.
She's on the Food Network right now making cakes. She does a lot of the
Oh.
dubs in the area.
No.
No?
No.
She's another. She's on one of her paintings too.
Hello?
Yeah.
No, I'm not familiar with her.
Yeah, she's a great artist too.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, no, I mean, I would love that. First of all, I love the Food Network.
Yeah, she's on Halloween Wars season 15
Oh, I
right
love
now.
that. Yeah. I was watching the Harry Potter
Oh yeah.
baking thing. That was like so intense.
Yeah, her thing's art of cakes, you know, like.
Right. So it's just like, so they're basically sculptures, like edible sculptures. 100%. Yeah.
She sells those cakes for a lot of money.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
So how much are these?
$2.25. Yep. Each and every one. So price them all the same.
Very nice.
Yes. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna get her for like the holidays.
Okay. Yeah.
And I just reached out to you on Instagram.
That'll work. Yeah. I mean, more direct, more my number, but Instagram works as well.
Can I get your number?
Yeah. I think that'll be more direct, because those are my shades. Because that's where I want to move towards, where it's like more direct interaction with people rather than
Absolutely.
the masses of the internet and yeah.
And then you don't know, like you don't see it always, right?
Yeah, it's like I want. Yeah.
Malik?
Yes, I just want to get it directly to the people. Yeah, hold on, let me
What's your
just
first
stop
initial
this.
of your last name?
Oh wow, this is still going. I love that.